president? Did they look for jobs? Did they look for education? Did they look for people? No! They looked at guns. They looked at guns. They looked at guns. They didn't look at jobs. They looked at guns. They didn't look at people, and they looked at guns. They didn't look at education. Now, I'm going to tell you something. I support the Second Amendment as much as any person in America today. And I'll tell you this, some of the best memories I have as a father with my son is going duck hunting. Matter of fact, my son and I have duck hunted with Roy and his sons. We respect and we understand the Second Amendment. But you cannot justify guns and alcohol in the same place. I would like to remind you tonight that I am the only candidate for governor who voted against that bill. I will run for governor proud of that vote, and I will talk that vote from Mountain City to Memphis. Now, my time's running short. I'm just getting started. I want to tell you a couple of things. I need your help in this election. I need your vote in this election. I'd ask you to do a couple of things. Follow me on Facebook. If you're not following me already, follow us on our webpage. If you haven't done that already, follow us on Twitter. I'll be twittering tonight about as I drive back to Nashville about this event. You know, the votes, the people in this room are very important to the election, very important to us all. In 1994, my wife ran statewide. It was a tough election year, but she had done as her aunt, the late Annabelle Clement O'Brien, had told her. She planned her work, she worked her plan. But people in this room listened to her, worked with her, and she won by 50,000 votes in a day that no other Democrat won in Tennessee. We can do that again. We will do that again. Thank you for your time. Thank you for being here. And as our president would say, God bless you and God bless the United States of America.
Our next speaker will be Senator Roy Herring.
Good evening. Good evening. I'm reminded of a true story. My father was a lawyer. It's probably going to come out during the campaign. And I became a lawyer. And my father became a judge. You know, that's what happens to lawyers sometimes. If you don't stop them early, they become judges. Daddy became a judge, and he was hearing a workers' compensation case. And they had a very fine lawyer representing the injured worker. It wasn't working Burt, but it was as good as we could get out in our way. And so the lawyer asked the gentleman about his disability, and he claimed he was totally disabled. Well, the insurance lawyer got up to cross-examine him. And he wasn't with Miller & Martin or Baker Donaldson, but he was with a very good law firm too. And so he got on to the fellow, and he said, "You mean to say you're disabled?" He said, "Yes, sir." "You mean to say you're totally disabled?" He said, "Yes, sir." "You mean to say there's not a job in this whole state that you can do?" And the fellow thought about it a minute, and he finally said, "Well, I guess I can do what my lawyer and you and the judge do. As far as any real work, no, sir, I can't." True story. Well, there's folks all over the state that are looking for real work. They're looking for real work. If you came home with me to Dresden, Tennessee, and you went with me around town, I could show you where Baby Shoe was, where they made shoes. And which followed them was Stetson Boot, and they made boots. And all those jobs are gone. I could show you where at Kelwood they made women's clothing. I could show you where after that they had the auto parts manufactured in the same building. All those jobs are gone. Show you where they processed tobacco. They still got about 8 or 10 jobs in that building now out of the hundreds that used to be there. If you went on with me around town, I could show where Dyco made wheels. Those jobs are gone. Where Greenfield Engineering made equipment. Those jobs are gone. Where Avon Book shipped out books, 150 jobs. Those are gone. Where Hall Printing was at one time employed right at 1,000 people. All those jobs are gone. And until a manufactured housing plant in the nearby county burned and moved to one of our empty buildings last year, ladies and gentlemen, the largest private employer in Dresden, Tennessee, with a 4-lane highway through town, Another 4-lane highway crisscrossing 6 miles away. University of Tennessee Martin 8 miles down the road. And the benefits of having a governor recorder as governor, the biggest private employer was the supermarket. Supermarket. You look right around here. Now, Chattanooga's unemployment right now, Hamilton County 8.7%, Bradley County 9.3%. Then you look where your neighbors are, though, right around, the folks that trade here and maybe don't trade as much as they once did. The 8 adjacent counties to Bradley and Hamilton, average unemployment for those 8 counties, 13.2%. And when you look at the underemployment, and all the people that don't show up in statistics, the real unemployment and underemployment, about 1 in 5. About 1 in 5. I understand something about that. I represent a county called Perry County. And earlier this year it hit 27% unemployment, ladies and gentlemen. 27%. Hadn't seen it since the Great Depression, literally. People quit buying houses and building houses, and so the 2 timber processing places, one of them shut down altogether. The other one almost did. 2 years ago, unemployment there was 6% and a fraction. In the last 2 years, they've lost 90% of their automotive-related jobs. I sat with a school counselor not long ago. They got 1 school counselor, got 4 schools, 2 primary, 1 middle, 1 high school, 2,000 students, 1 school counselor, ladies and gentlemen. And I sat with that counselor. And she told me what it meant, not in terms of numbers, but in terms of people. And she told me this. She told me about a little girl who failed 3 vision tests, had a learning disability as well. And her mama was disabled. Her daddy lost his job. They could not afford to buy her glasses. And so that school counselor took up a collection among the teachers, and they bought her glasses. Just like they take up collections and they buy children winter clothes and shoes and coats and school supplies. She told me about another little boy, and he was upset because Dad and Mom had both lost their jobs in the automotive industry. And now Daddy's drinking, and Daddy and Mom are fighting, and he's scared. He's scared. Ladies and gentlemen, these are serious times, and the challenge and what Senator Burke has shared in terms of the challenge for us to share with you about where we are on jobs and economic growth, that's what I want to talk to you about. I understand the numbers, and I understand the human reality. I've sat with friends of mine at a barbecue restaurant in Dresden. She worked at the last textile manufacturing, clothing manufacturing place in my whole district. We used to have thousands of jobs in my part of the world. Had between 5,000 and 6,000 employed by HIS alone. Personnel director at HIS told me they left Tennessee and they went to Mexico because they could hire a Mexican for a week for what they hired a Tennessean for a day. And then they went through some reorganization. Those jobs went to Pacific Rim because they could hire somebody at the Pacific Rim for a week for what they could hire a Mexican for a day. And you back it out and do the math, they can hire somebody at the Pacific Rim for a month for about what they paid a Tennessean for a day. I've seen those jobs go, ladies and gentlemen, and I understand what it means, and that's why, if I'm elected your governor, my top 3 priorities will be jobs, jobs, and jobs. There's a lot of different things we need to do, and Governor Bredesen's been doing a lot of them. Y'all have done tremendous right here with the VW plant coming. I commend you, I applaud you, and I'm happy for you. Happy with what's fixing to happen just up the road in Bradley County, with Vicar coming and the multi-billion-dollar investment y'all are seeing in this area. It says a lot of good things about your local government, your city council, your county commission, your leadership here, your mayor, the folks here who are making a difference. If you elect me your governor, in order for us to get those jobs in the future, in the 21st century, my top 3 means for getting those jobs will be education, education, and education.